That's okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We are so excited to present this topic to you today. My name is Sarah Williams. I am going to be your moderator today, and I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes just to allow folks to trickle in, and then we'll get started.
Awesome. Sarah, can you see my big screen? Are you just seeing the title page here?
I am just seeing the title page with your guys' lovely faces.
Oh, look at that. I like Louis. It looks
I know
good.
they can, dude.
All natural.
I
Yeah.
know. Oh, gosh. Monique, I didn't ask you, how was your weekend?
Oh, well, we geeked out at the Renaissance Fair. It was really fun. And my son did like some blacksmith work. It was really interesting. It was in Red Lodge and super fun, camped in the Beartooth. So no complaints, no complaints.
Did you get rained on at all this weekend?
A little, a little. It wasn't too bad though. We have a canvas tent, thanks to XYPN's Be Well Being You fund. We bought ourselves a canvas tent, which is super fancy when you car camp. So you don't have to be squished in a little thing with four or five of us.
Well, thank goodness for that Be Well Being You fund.
I know, right? It's one of the perks. Yeah, yeah. Usually my oldest son likes to sleep in a hammock, but that's heavy grizzly bear country, so we don't let him do that. He's got to be
Yeah,
in the tent.
yeah.
Much to the chagrin.
Yep, I would definitely be in that tent all the time.
Not so bad.
Oh,
We'll run into some grizzlies.
well, cool. It is 11:02. I want to get started, so we'll just do that. Welcome, everybody, to today's solution spotlight titled Creating Workflows That Work for You with Hubbly and XYPN Ops. Joining us today, we have the VP of XYPN Ops, Monique Dutkowsky, and CEO and co-founder of Hubbly, Louis, not Louis, Retif. Here at XYPN, it's our mission to help advisors start, run, and grow the RIA of their dreams. We offer all the solutions you need to run your business. XYPN Ops is one of our in-house support solutions, and Hubbly is part of our discounted tech stack. And we are delighted and grateful to have them both with us today. So let's meet our guest today. Louis is the co-founder and CEO of Hubbly, a wealth tech company powering hundreds of financial advisory firms. He has not only unleashed the power of effortless financial advisory, but has also guided his team through difficult challenges, including COVID, the Silicon Valley bank crash, and a turbulent venture capital market. This has helped Hubbly build a category-defining market-leading company that is helping advisors and their back office teams find the freedom to grow their businesses while delivering a top-notch client service. And Monique is Vice President of XYPN Ops. She is an economist and former adjunct professor of economics at Montana State University. And when she's not playing with her three kids, she's spending her time enjoying the beauty of Montana through trail running, backpacking, and skiing. And on that note of trail running, Monique, I just started hiking the M, the very difficult part, and it is
Oh, look at you.
hard,
I'm
but
doing that after this. I'm going to run the end. For those of you who know Montana.
it is very fun, but very challenging.
Very challenging.
Anyways, some housekeeping items before we get started. There is the chat tab and the Q&A tab. As you have some questions, please pop them in the Q&A tab. You can upvote other people's questions as appropriate, and Louis will monitor and they will answer as they come up. But please do drop your questions as they come up so that yeah, they can be answered and responded to appropriately. And last but not least, we have a couple of upcoming events. Next week, June 11th, we have another solution spotlight with FP Pathfinder, Wealthbox, and Right Capital titled Create Onboarding Efficiencies for Better Client Engagement. And I will drop registration links below. And then on June 25th, we have another solution spotlight with Precise FP, building a set it and forget it lead generation engine for your RIA.
Love it.
Okay.
Good
Well,
topics.
with all of that said, I am going to turn it over to Monique and Louis, and I look forward to hearing about this topic. Thanks all.
Nice. Well, good morning or maybe good afternoon, depending on where you're calling from. As Sarah said, I'm Monique Dutkowsky and I'm Vice President of XYPN Ops. For those of you who don't know, XYPN Ops is a service that XYPN members use to gain back office support, business consulting, and marketing and strategy implementation. Today, XYPN Ops is teaming up with Hubly's CEO and co-founder Louis Retif to talk to you about how you can harness the power of process and workflows to keep you streamlined, efficient, and ready to outsource when you reach that point in your entrepreneurial journey. Before we move into the nitty-gritty of workflows and process, you may be wondering, what is the journey of an entrepreneur in the financial planning industry? It's a really great place for us to begin as we dive into the larger picture of what's worthy of your attention and investment as a business owner. In other words, what sorts of trade-offs, Sarah told you I was an economist, what sort of trade-offs should you make as a business owner to get the most return for your investment? Let's start by laying the groundwork. It will serve you well to think of entrepreneurship as a journey that correlates best in this industry to client household count. And as such, on this journey, your needs and investment, along with their correlating ROI, evolves and changes as your household count increases. In other words, what's right at 2 clients and 5 clients isn't going to be optimal at 20, and what got you to 20 won't get you to 70. At XYPN Ops, we created some markers that should help to guide you as you travel down this road. Generally, your first stop is going to be firm registration and developing some basic marketing assets. Think about who your ideal client is and then how they speak. What language do they speak in? So speak to them in that language and not what we call lovingly at XYPN Ops advisories. After that, we really recommend investing in basic automations like meeting scheduling and basic outsourcing like bookkeeping. After about 10 clients, we recommend either creating or revisiting your basic workflows to better reflect the process you want to follow. And what this map is showing is that as you grow beyond 50 or more households, the need to integrate systems and support really skyrockets. And what we see is that folks who get to around 60 households without any support very often come to us with significant challenges because they had no time to work on the business. So think about it like this. They had time to drive the truck, but not change the oil. Imagine what that does to your truck. Now translate that to your firm. Now, I want to say in the beginning, it makes perfect sense for you to do most of the work yourself. You can onboard your clients and enter their data and serve them because you are only looking at 5 clients you're supporting. But as you get bigger, the value of your time does too. The opportunity cost of your time all of a sudden increases. And as a result, there's no time for you to invest in process or create a welcome packet or reassess client deliverables. All you can do is keep pace with client demands in a reactive rather than proactive approach. I know some of you, this is ringing some bells. This is where we see firms in a bind. They can't rely on their CRM data. They don't have automations or client communication templates. Their file system is a wreck. They're living in a combination of a Write Capital Vault and their personal Dropbox account. And every client is onboarded and served differently. Prospects are leaving the funnel because they are not being followed up on. We get it. You dreamed of serving clients, not running a business. But the consequences of this approach impact both you and your clients in real ways. What we want to do is stop you from hitting that chaos by showing you the path ahead and giving you a key tool that will help you lay the foundation for faster and safer travels down this road. So, one of the key items you need to invest in before hitting 40 households are processes and workflows. But many of us use these words interchangeably. Parsing them out is going to give us more clarity and direction as you build this well-oiled business. So what's the difference? So we argue that process is a systematic series of actions and steps designed to achieve a particular outcome or goal. It provides that high-level overview of the entire journey from start to finish. Think of it as a blueprint or a roadmap guiding you through a set of activities towards a specific result. Processes can be simple or complex depending on the nature of the outcome. A workflow, however, is that detailed step-by-step execution of specific parts of the process. It's the hands-on nitty-gritty. Where are the templates? It's all of that specifics. They can be both automated and manual that are involved in doing a particular task in a larger process. So think about it like this. You're cooking dinner for your family. And the process would be as follows: plan the meal, go to the grocery store, cook the meal, set the table, feed your family. The workflow for one particular step in this larger process with the desired outcome, cooking the meal, would be like turn on the oven, line the baking sheet, set the timer, let it rest, add sauce, let it cool, those kinds of things. So now we should understand process versus workflow. But we have to talk about some hard truths. This isn't the first time you've been told that workflows are important. Follow a process, they say. Get under one system, they say. Serve your clients with consistency, they say. What we see is that the majority of firms we work with spend a lot of resources trying to avoid using workflows. And at XYPN Ops, we have seen it all by now. And boy, do you all work really, really hard to avoid using these workflows. So we want to know, what do you do to avoid using workflows? So Louis is going to launch a poll. And if you guys could jump in.
Poll should be live, and there's no judgment here. I know we all do it. I personally do it in our business as well, and we're a workflow provider, so there's always a reason.
We see a lot of spreadsheets in our business, a lot of spreadsheets. We're often converting, you know, 4 or 5 spreadsheets back into the CRM, trying to make this make sense for folks. And I love the Post-its. I used to be the queen of Post-its. I have this semi-famous picture that I've taken of my desk all full of Post-its. I may or may not have missed almost a track meet of my son's because it was on a Post-it, not where it was supposed to be.
I think this one's good, Monique.
All right.
I have a lot of follow-up tasks in my CRM, but none of them connect. I think that's a really interesting one. Like we see that quite often working with
Yeah.
firms, even at Hubly, is like the task tracking in the CRM is actually really good, but it's like, what is the purpose of all these tasks? How are they connected to a process? What am I learning from all these tasks I'm doing for clients? And so I'm glad some folks answered that one.
Yeah, really great.
Well, let's share the results. Looks like
Yeah, sure.
there are the results.
So it looks like spreadsheets and a bunch of random CRM tasks rule the day, and I would totally agree. This is what we see. So clearly a lot of you all ascribe to the same avoidance that our users do, and that's okay. But we really are here to tell you that investing in workflows really does matter. With clear process and workflows, you can tap into the power of delegation. And without that, I have to tell you, you will hit a ceiling and you'll be forced to do one of 2 things, or maybe both. 1, stop growing, or 2, stop serving your clients in the same way. If you plan to capitalize on gains from trade, then workflows are your only path to get there. Workflows can also make it clear to your team what outcome equates to success. In the military, I'm an Army brat, they call this commander's intent. And workflows are really a clear way to express that intent so your team knows that they're rowing in the right direction. From a compliance perspective, workflows attached to households ensure that you have a consistent service record so you can see where decisions were made and why and how clients got served. So there's no more digging around through different systems and emails, trying to put together why something happened 2 years ago. Everything is in one place, making passing an audit much easier. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but as you grow, new pain points will emerge. And one of the first is that you will no longer be able to juggle in your mind where all your clients are at in their process, let alone where all their forms are at Schwab. So with a good workflow, at a glance, you can see what is happening with your projects, forms, and clients, giving you that much needed peace of mind. Nothing is dropped as long as you use the workflows you have invested in. Finally, if you have plans to incorporate a business partner or sell your RIA one day, let me tell you, businesses that are systematized and streamlined are what sell. Workflows ensure that you have a firm that people want to be a part of. So yeah, investing in this particular tool really, really does pay off. So hopefully now you understand that entrepreneurship is a journey. And if you don't take your designated pit stops, you will pay later down the road. Think of NASCAR. You can also understand the difference between process and workflow. And finally, you're beginning to understand why workflows are an investment with a really high ROI. So before we dive into the details of how to create good process and workflow, we want to know, what do you want to get out of these workflows? And still better, what we want you to know, it is taking time to really contemplate, why is it you're doing this? Because good intention is going to lead to a really better chance of success. So it looks like we've got peace of mind. We hear that all the time, peace of mind, nothing's forgotten, peace of mind. Task delegation, I love that. That means you have someone to delegate to, which is really, really key to success. Tracking a client's journey and progress, I love that. You know, it's a great way to show value. Anything else coming up that's surprising you, Louis?
Nothing surprising. I'm always surprised at how often I hear like the peace of mind, ensuring nothing falls through the cracks, because it's like feels like somewhat of a blanket statement, if I'm honest. Like I always try to encourage like dig one layer deeper, right? Like what do you actually fear is falling through the cracks? Like be more
Right.
specific about that thing that is potentially falling through the cracks. And we'll talk about that more a little bit, Monique, but just wanted to set us up for that one.
I love that. I went ahead and shared.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. This is really great and very consistent with what we hear about the benefits from both workflows and outsourcing. So this is lovely. So now that you've stopped to consider why you are choosing this investment, because it does require trade-offs, why are you choosing to be here? Why are you choosing to learn how to create great workflow? Now you need to know where to begin. And in economics, we often say good thinking leads to good outcomes. So I really recommend starting with some good old-fashioned strategic planning. What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to be a multi-advisor firm, or are you building a lifestyle practice? Are you finding growth in high volume with lower annual minimums, or fewer clients with higher net worth? These are very different growth strategies and very different marketing strategies and very, very, very different client service models. Knowing where you want to go can help you find the path that's right for you. So the next step is to prioritize the most used processes and build and test that before you move on to anything else. So here's a good note. High volume work can be built out with less detail because you do it so often, you're unlikely going to forget those kinds of details. But as you grow, you'll eventually start building out the low volume workflows, the things you only do once a year or once a quarter. And now you need to add more detail because you're likely going to forget all the minutia involved in quarterly performance reports or whatever it might be. So finally, as we learned previously, workflows are best used when there are components that can be delegated out so that not everything is on your plate. We encourage you to lean in on this and think about delegation as you're creating your workflows. And I say this even if you don't have a support crew yet there, create a space for what could be. Build that out, assign the components to yourself for now, with the hope that you're going to hire. Okay, what we've found at XYPN Ops is that 80% of all the work that must be done to support your clients can be covered with only 3 types of workflows. And they're pre and post meeting support. Hubley calls that client reviews, custodial support, often called money movement, and then client onboarding. Of course, there are lots of other types of workflows, not discounting the importance of those, but 80% of your workload will be streamlined with an investment of these 3 types of workflows. So that's really empowering. You don't have to do it all anytime soon. 80% is good enough. So then the question is, where do you start? So, how do you go about building a workflow in a way that empowers you and your team to actually use them? Because we know that's a big disconnect. Even when they exist, there's this disconnect and they're not used. So XYPN Ops and Hubley combined our extensive knowledge of workflows, including when they work and when they don't, and built you a recipe to ensure that this investment, once made, really does impact not just you, but your clients. So here's the recipe. So step 1 is to pick a priority process. What is going to mean the most to you and your firm right away? Start with only one workflow and go through the entire process before moving on to anything else. You'll learn a lot. The second is to take time to plan the stages within your workflow. What are the main stages a custodial form goes through? That's really empowering for the folks that we work with. Or what are the main stages of post-client meeting follow-up? Next, you're going to want to plan and delegate your tasks within a workflow. What are the specifics like templates, forms, client communication standards? Include all the links and details that matter for that particular step. Next, you're going to want to pause and try it out on a client or 2. This is so important, and people forget to do this, but I promise you, you're going to find lots of things that are wrong, and that's okay. The point is you're going to test it, experiment with it, make those adjustments, make those improvements so that they increase the chance of success. Now, what's really important is once you're done trying things out, then it's time to consider automations that can lend itself to efficiencies. That might be smart reminders or the automatic launch of another workflow at the end of this one. There's so many choices that can reduce the time you spend on repetitive tasks. But here's the thing, don't lead with automation. So often we see folks leading with automation, and the end result is that they have something that is very automated, but not very useful. So you want to lead with what's the path that's right for my firm, my team, and my clients, and then decide what automations can be helpful in that, not the other way around. After that, it's going to be time to evaluate and update. At XYPN Ops, we find that workflows and automations have to be evaluated often as we learn things and as new clients come on board. In other words, these are not written in stone like commandments. They are living, breathing organisms within your firm. And quarterly or semi-annually, they deserve your attention, if not more frequently, as you are learning things. And finally, you are going to encounter times where you're going to want to customize existing workflows to deal with a particular client issue. When that's the case, just edit that particular workflow to reflect the customization so that you increase the likelihood of using it for all customers. And with these 7 steps, you really can ensure that this investment isn't done in vain, and that all your efforts lead to smoother client experiences and better back offices, which is the ultimate goal we're going for. So with that, we've shown you the power of workflows. We gave you some basic tools to start integrating them into your business. But here's the thing. I put good money that many of you are sitting in CRMs that contain workflows. They either came with your CRM, or maybe even worse, you hired someone to build you workflows that you now ignore. So if workflows are so great, why are they so often ignored? We really want to know, why did they fail for you? And then we want to talk about ways to actively reduce the odds of this failure. So Yeah. I spent a lot of time setting them up. I seem to avoid them every chance I get. My favorite
That
one.
is so good.
I know, so good. There are too many, I get overwhelmed. I like that one a lot. So often we think we need 200 when in reality, easily 10, right, Louis? Like, I mean, you can get by with 10 or fewer, 5 even. Oh yeah, no one to delegate to. That's a big one because workflows really become extraordinarily powerful when you can delegate. Outsourcing and workflows they're components, steps in the process to scale a business. I think that's how I would describe them.
I would also argue, Monique, that delegating to yourself is as important as delegating to others.
Oh, it's interesting. I mean, as an economist, I think about comparative advantage and opportunity cost. And I always want more people. I mean, there's a reason why there's a team of 15 behind me, and it's
Yeah.
not just me. We would be lost if it was just me. So yeah, I love this. Overwhelmed. They're too long, too detail oriented. So we get all of this, and I want you to know that you're not alone. And by the way, this is exactly why we have invited Hubbly into this partnership. Louis, you are the expert in the room. Can you share us some cautionary tales of bad workflows and give us some paths ahead to avoid that problem?
I would love to. And I was reflecting on this, what I wanted to say before this call, and I've done one-on-one conversations with over 1,500 financial advisory business owners.
Wow, that's amazing.
And so my knowledge and what I'm sharing is really coming from that. And as a team at Hubbly, we've implemented hundreds of thousands of workflows that are now servicing over 40,000 households. And I think there's 5 things that just like keep coming up over and over again when we talk to firms about why their workflows failed, why they're struggling. And so here are a couple of them. The first one is making it too complicated or too simple. It's kind of, I think about, Goldilocks and like the soup being or the porridge being the right temperature. And I find that folks normally make the workflows too complicated if they spend all the time building the workflows but never actually use them. And so I just want to reiterate the importance of testing your workflows on real clients, not fake clients, real clients will really help you avoid this too complicated, too simple issue. The faster you get it iterating on real clients, the better it's going to be. But I've seen folks take 6 months building out workflows before they run a client through it, and they just invested hundreds of hours, and then they test it on their first client. They're like, well, that was annoying to complete that workflow. We had way too many tasks in it.
Mhm.
The second one is workflows that are in your heads do not help you or anyone. Workflows are really hard for, I think, the human brain to even comprehend or understand. And so actually using Miro or a piece of paper or a whiteboard to draw your workflow before you build it in any software, Hubbly, CRM, whatever software you're going to use doesn't matter, but actually visualizing your workflow or your process on just basic tooling like pen and paper is going to go a far way. I spend a lot of time talking to firms, and there's this idea that this quarter we're going to implement workflows and we're going to be done with it.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just not going to happen. Workflows are a marginal cost with marginal benefits forever, and there's a conscious decision on if you're going to become a workflow and processes orientated business owner or not. But it's never a one and done thing. I also hear a lot of firm owners schedule calls and they think workflows are going to be the silver bullet to all their problems. Workflows do not solve all your problems. Unfortunately, they aren't magic. And I have folks that schedule calls and they're like, I've hired this individual and they're not being productive and they're unhappy in their job and they're not a good performer. And it's like, workflows might not solve that problem. You should maybe hire someone else, right? And so I think there's this piece of like expectation that this magical thing called a workflow might solve all your problems. And I think the last one, which I probably spend the most time emphasizing when I talk to business owners, is if you are not going to use the workflows as the business owner or the lead financial advisor, they will fail.
Yes.
Cannot you cannot create a culture of workflows and processes and tell everyone on your team to use them if you're not going to use them. And so it really does start with you, the business owner, if you're going to build a firm that's process or workflow orientated or not. And so those are some of the common mistakes I hear a lot, Monique, and where I spend a lot of my time coaching advisory firms. And these are areas where I find myself going back to in terms of coaching and orientating them before we even talk about software, before we talk about automations, before we talk about the nitty gritty. Tackling these items are really important, or workflows will ultimately fail.
This is really one of the reasons why Hubly is just a cut above, because you bother to invest in the RIA, and the business owner and give them that support to figure out whether or not this is really the thing that is going to get them to that next level or not. I'm guessing 9 times out of 10 people are coming to you because they're looking to scale, which is often the same reason they're coming to us. Which really gets us into, why does XYPN Ops love working with Hubly? And it's really insights like this that are one of the many reasons why we've begun to just dive in to using and integrating Hubly whenever possible. Like you, we believe that complexity increases with the number of teammates and the number of households. And we love that Hubly is geared, like us, towards supporting larger firms with more complexity. Since we both have similar clients with similar pain points, there's really a lot we can do together to better support growing firms. And I hope this is just the beginning of many collaborations, from the workflows that we did, but just better understanding, how unique it is that, out of the thousands of business owners who support clients, why some of them end up growing to hundreds of households and others don't. And of course, we both feel strongly about the power of workflows in the entrepreneurial journey. But here is the real big one that people miss all the time: the importance of visibility when it comes to your clients, your projects, your deliverables. We know that data is power. And this is our number one selling point for Hubly. It's that you all do such a darn good job of keeping us and our advisors informed. And we're going to show you what that looks like in a few slides. But with that, I'm going to hand it over to Louis for some really great demos to help you streamline your firm and hand things over, and delegate better. So let's jump in.
Awesome. If you want to just jump to the next slide here. Before we dive into the demo, I want to talk about our partnership details that many of you have heard of. I also see there's a couple existing Hubly clients on the call. Nice to see some of you. As part of this partnership, not only with XYPN Ops, we've also more broadly relaunched our partnership with the XY Planning Network. And XY has secured a really awesome deal for any XYPN members. There's a 30% discount code now available. If you're new to Hubly, you can sign up via the free trial on our website using the XYPN Hub code. For XYPN members who are already Hubly customers, if you follow the QR code there and go to the FAQ section, you can request upgrading your account to the new pricing package. And so feel free to do that as well. With that being said, if you jump to the next slide here, Monique, I want to talk first and foremost, just because it's a question I get on every single call I do with an advisory firm, is that, okay, I hear you about Hubly, I hear you about the importance of workflows, but like, I have workflows in my CRM. And you do. And I saw a question earlier around, I have no one to really delegate to. I would say Hubly, you can get away with your CRM workflows pretty far in your entrepreneurial journey. You don't need Hubly. Now, once again, Hubly is going to be best for fast growing advisory firms who have ambitious goals or already have a team in place. The three core benefits that keep our clients happy at Hubly and primarily bring us new clients are three things. One is really intuitive workflow building and pre-built workflow templates. Workflows are difficult to build. I will admit that myself. We've tried to make it as really simple as possible at Hubly, and try to also provide a best practice templates library. And so making workflow building simpler is something that we spend a lot of energy on to make with our software. Two, Monique mentioned this already, but visibility and just a simpler user experience and user interface in the software. Generally speaking, CRMs are relational databases, and they have been built on a more archaic technology versus Hubly's experience that you will see if you haven't seen it before. And last but not least is our data insights. I'll show you some of the value you get when you build a workflow and process oriented firm. You're going to get a lot of value in terms of the data and insights into your business. And I'll show that in the live demo coming up.
Nice.
But before that, Monique and I wanted to really compare a day in the life of, let's say you're managing workflows in your CRM, which you're more than welcome to do, and you should do in your early stages of your entrepreneurial journey, and what that same day in the life will look like in Hubly, and then we'll get into the demo.
Yeah, I love it. So this is where, up until working with Hubly, we primarily lived. And I want to start by saying at XYPN Ops, we work in 5 or more CRMs, and Wealthbox is our absolute favorite. From its features to its usability to its integration capabilities, Wealthbox is really for us the clear winner. But we do have some challenges when it comes to managing the workflows at high volume. So in some cases, the advisors that we work with might have somewhere between 25 to 45 outstanding workflows in any given day. And as you can see by this graphic, things get very chaotic. And the lack of visibility within workflow features means that we're spending a lot of time communicating about where things are, trying to pass the baton between our large team members. Which forms are waiting on the client to sign, which ones are waiting on Schwab, which ones got rejected. None of this is available at a glance. And this leads to some major inefficiencies. None of us have these steps. Step 2 is this part of the workflow memorized. So these steps don't really illuminate to us enough information, which leaves us digging and doing these pull-off meetings. So in the journey of an entrepreneur, when the household count gets high, we recommend integrating Hubly as your needs evolve. And in the next slide, Louis is going to show you exactly what the difference can be.
Awesome. I'm going to steal screen share here and just actually dive right into the demo instead of a picture of the demo.
I do love that one.
Awesome. So the number one difference that you'll see visually speaking is, from a technology standpoint, we've actually spent a lot of conscious time differentiating what is a process and what is a workflow, which Monique educated all of you on so brilliantly earlier. And so what we've actually visualized here is the custodian process that XYPN Ops runs for the firms that they work with. Now, I'll orientate everyone here. Each of these columns is what we call a workflow. And these 4 workflows make up the custodial process. Now, from a experience standpoint, each of these cards is a client that is in that step of the process or in that particular workflow. So you have Lily Smith, who is currently getting her account forms prepped. You have Emily that is in the process of getting the form signed. You have Amanda and Lois who are waiting for, we're waiting for the clients to actually sign their forms. And we have Hillary currently going through the funding process for her account. And so right away, from just a quick visual, you can see, oh, I got 3 clients that are preparing forms. We got 2 clients waiting to sign, and I have 1 client ready to fund. Within seconds, you're doing an analysis and understanding where clients are at in your experience. The additional value add as you start working with XYPN Ops, or if you decide to delegate to one of your team members, you can see who is responsible for each particular client or each workflow. For example, this is a task that has been delegated to XYPN Ops. And so you don't have to worry about it. You know it's being handled. And you can see that you might have some tasks assigned to yourself to move the client along. Now, this is where Hubly makes it pretty easy. You can engage and move the clients along the process pretty quickly. For example, you can open up your signing platform and you can see, has Amanda Brown signed the documents yet or not? And you can go ahead and click on Amanda's profile. This is where we pull in all of your information from Wealthbox. We're not trying to replace your CRM, we actually build on top of it. We sync in all of your household information, top left here, contact information, your important client dates, and notes. But here's where it gets pretty easy to engage with your team who you delegated with, if that's XYPN Ops or your actual team. So you can say we're waiting on the client to sign. You can see there's a couple of outcomes. So let's say we're waiting for the client to sign, but in this case, we failed authentication, for example. You can go ahead, select that outcome, and there we go. The workflow has now automatically delegated the next step to XYPN Ops as an example to send the documents through Schwab's digital workflow. And so with one click of a button, you've moved the client along the workflow, you've delegated a task, and now you are no longer responsible for that workflow. XYPN Ops is. But you can have a visual layout as to what is actually happening. Monique, any comments before I continue and show some of the data insight pieces?
I mean, I love the data insight pieces, but I can't tell you at volume. I would love to see if attendees could just drop some of their household counts in, anything past 30 or 40. I mean, this is just going to save so much digging because you dug 2 days ago, but you have forgotten what you found. When you have 60, 50, 60 households. So this is just so empowering. And this in and of itself will save a ton of time, but then the elements of delegation as well is just amazing. So yeah, the insights that you guys provide just really drive direction when it comes to how we're working with folks as well.
Yeah. This is where I really want to give kudos to XYPN Ops. The templating process and workflow building process, Monique and her team have large part done this for you already. And so if you decide to work with XYPN Ops, you won't have to build these workflows from scratch. And not only can you start delegating immediately, but you can actually understand what is happening in the delegation process very quickly and easily. Now, where Hubly, once again, the main value adds, workflow building, you can either get templates or you can build workflows from scratch at the top left here, top right here. Second is the visibility and the quick decision-making as a business owner. And the last piece is our insights. And so I've gone ahead here and opened up what we call our client workflow completion history report. Now, right away, you can see we've completed 8 of the new account opening workflows with XYPN Ops. Now, our software automatically starts tracking how many days is this process taking. This is demo data. So it's I did it all in the last week, so it went through quickly. But here you can see your complete archival history of all of the clients who have gone through different processes and different workflows. We track data in terms of when this workflow was created, when it was completed, and you have this really strong audit record automatically that you don't need to worry about, which I saw was one of the goals that someone on the call mentioned, is if you workflow things, the audit and compliance is taken care of for you automatically as well. The second one, inside a report I wanted to see, which is my favorite, is what I call there's the history of workflows completion, and then there's the active workflows insight report. And as Monique mentioned, it's pretty common that at some point in your firm, you're going to potentially have hundreds of active workflows. This demo hub, for example, we have 105 active workflows. That's pretty normal for the average firm serving 50 to 70 households. At Hubly, we automatically start tracking data for you. what is the aging of your workflows? How long have they been open? And help you actually filter and find information you're looking for from a different lens. So for example, I can filter here and be like, I just want to see how our XYPN Ops new account opening workflows are doing. You can filter your dashboard. Awesome. And here you can see, once again, that same data, but at a different view, which is, I think, really valuable in terms of creating that visibility. You can see we have 7 active new account opening workflows. And here at the bottom, you can actually see, I want to filter by the ones that have the most incomplete tasks. And you can quickly filter and find the information that you're looking for with a couple clicks of a button, and essentially try to get you out of the spreadsheet where you're probably tracking this information right now.
Yeah, they are. They totally are. I mean, you can imagine tracking this. I mean, your mind's going to start to blow, but I can't tell you the number of people who track surge through spreadsheets, right? Move that into something like Hubly, and you've got, okay, I've sent the first notification. Here are the clients that were sent the first notification about surge. Oh, here are the clients that need to be sent the second notification. Where people are, they've had their meeting, they haven't had their meeting. I mean, all of these different columns, the stages, so to speak. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
The stages can be reflected easily, as opposed to all this color coding that happens in a spreadsheet. It can get confusing. It's hard to do a one glance. Data can go missing when you have that much information in a spreadsheet that is not in an automated form. So, man, this is getting out of the 20th century into where we need to be. So I'm a huge proponent of this for anything that has like a lot of complexity. With custodial forms, there's a lot of complexity that may or may not be obvious when you first start. It certainly wasn't obvious to me when I first came in the industry how many minute steps they are in getting a simple new account opening or move money, things like that. But when it comes to surge, the power of that, when you're looking at 80 different households that you have to track down, and how much better you could be about encouraging people to actually take that meeting, which allows you to really add value to their lives in real ways.
Yeah. So there's a really good question of like, how long does it take to set these up, Monique? And I think it's important to address that is the way some rules of thumb that we talk about at Hubly is, if you're going to adopt a template, once again, go back to the principles that Monique taught, like pick a priority process. Now, in this demo, I didn't want to demo 100 different processes. I said, let's just talk about the new account opening process.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, using that as a rule of thumb, if you're building that process from scratch, you're not adopting a template, or you're not working with XYPN Ops, who's already really trained up and can help you through this a lot faster. About 2 to 3 weeks to get a process working and actually having clients go through it. So if you think about there's about top 3 processes that are important for a firm. It could take you up to 2 months before Hubly's being used for the majority of the work that you do. Now, we have some firms that work with us at Hubly who have hundreds of processes built out in Hubly, and so it can take a lot longer. But I think you can start receiving value from Hubly, delegating work, running a process within 2 to 3 weeks if you stay focused on getting one process built out.
For sure. And use the templates. Start there. So many people don't start there, and I get it. Not all templates are good. Hubly's are really good. And ours are specific to XYPN members. In the insights that we glean, you all are slightly different than other folks, and that's great. We love serving those folks. I've got one more question on here that has your name written all over it, not mine.
So tax prep and filing, I think we have some firms that are doing like 800 tax prep filings within a tax season. We help process thousands of them. Now, using the exact same logic we've been talking about, tax prep and filing is just another process. And so I can, with a click of a button here, switch to a different process. For example, this is Hubly's templated tax process. Using the exact same logic as the outcome we're trying to achieve is to review and file our clients' taxes and to bill them for that time. And you have different stages. We have found through our work experience at Hubly, the 4 core stages in a tax prep and filing process is opt-in call. Not all your clients are going to opt into doing taxes with you. They might do it with someone else. There's the document collection process, which we all know is a pain. There's the actual review and filing process. And then you can't forget to bill your clients. In some cases, the billing part is included in your fees, and so you don't have to worry about that step. But generally speaking, it is no different than the new account opening process. It's just for taxes. And once again, the exact same process of being able to visually see where clients are at, having the workflows delegate tasks to yourself, or if you work with a CPA, to basically help you deliver this process at scale to hundreds of your clients. I hope that answered the question regarding tax prep.
Really powerful. I mean, we talk about as entrepreneurs how daunting it is to be doing everything yourself for the first time. And what entrepreneurs, because they tend to be quick starters, tend to do is like lean in on reinventing the wheel. And what we always try to do is say, wait a second, is there something that already exists foundationally that we can use, capitalize on, reduce our internal costs, and then just tweak and refine as we go? Because again, what you're looking for typically when you start is that MVP, right? That minimum viable product that you can use to better. And I think you guys get 85 to 90% there. And then I'm guessing that there are like tweaks that constantly happen as folks refine, but don't try to do it all on your own. There are systems out there that can help. And at Hubly's, I think just is fantastic. The views that you can do and the way it kind of changes the way you think about how you are adding value. We're really big on how can you add more value to your client engagements. And part of it is because we're often advocating, to someone who hasn't raised their fees in 7 years, it's probably time. And so we got to do that in conjunction with like doing better. And these types of workflows and this visibility allows folks to add more to what they can give to their clients and do it better and do it more consistently. So it's so powerful when you're looking to run an efficient, amazing business.
And Monique, I can't stress the importance of, I speak to a lot of solo or small advisory firms who are reaching that 40-person client marker in their journey. And quite a few of them are like, oh, I need to start hiring and I need to bring on a full-time administrator. One of my reasons why I'm very excited about the XYPN Ops partnership is that I'm a big advocate for not hiring full-time people for as long as possible. And so if you're reaching that point in your journey where you're like, maybe I need some help, seriously consider working with XYPN Ops and a outsourced resource who is already specialized. You don't need to train them. You don't need to worry about payroll. They can actually train you and do work for you. And so just think about hiring someone specialized instead of training someone from scratch will actually make your life a lot easier. And so I just want to give a lot of kudos to XYPN Ops, Monique and her team. We spent quite a bit of time working together in preparation for this webinar. And if you decide to work with XYPN Ops and Hubly, Hubly is going to come pre-built with over 10 XYPN Ops workflows where they're going to take care of 80% of the work that you need to delegate. From your account opening workflows to IRA distributions to pre and post meeting support to beneficiary designations to account transfers. Monique and her team are not only trained on how to do this, they also have the workflows that come pre-built that you can immediately basically start delegating work to their team. And so just want to really encourage working with them as part of the growth journey in your firm.
Thank you, Louie. That's so nice.
Yeah. Monique, do you want to just touch on how your team potentially wants to get in touch with XYPN, how advisors can, and I'll touch on Hubly, and then we can
for sure.
Q&A.
Yeah, if you're not already an XYPN member, because I think this is open to non-members, Sarah, if you could grab some sort of booking link. I think we should put that in the chat. If you're interested in talking to XYPN Ops as part of either becoming a member or you're currently a member and you're starting to hit that capacity and you want to capitalize on gains from trade, I got to tell you, the data from the last benchmark study show that in generally, XYPN members who outsource earn 2 times the revenue at the exact same household count than those who don't. So it's really empowering stuff.
Mm.
The data, I had to double check on it because I couldn't believe I've seen data that was high, but that's really, really high. And that's the power of being an XYPN member. So definitely look on the, would that be the left side for you all? We actually do over 400 different tasks now. And so if you want to talk about what zones we cover and how we can support, as Louis mentioned, there's a whole lot of people behind me that make XYPN Ops, and they're fantastic, and they have skill sets ranging from, some of them are CFPs, paraplanners, custodial experts, marketing experts. We even have a fabulous graphic designer who's responsible for a lot of the art that you saw today. Erica, props, I see you on today. Thank you so much. Just a ton of incredible people behind us, and that means that there's a lot of potential things we can do and that we do. We've done over 11,000 hours of work with members, and so that leads to a lot of insights, and we know there's a lot of ways to skin this cat, and our job is to help you get there quickly and with ease. So if you're interested in just talking to us, awesome. Even better if you're interested in working with Hubbly. We have graciously received the ability to have not only a discount through XYPN generally to all members, but those who work with XYPN Ops, our 16 people can get into your system at no additional cost. So that's a huge savings. I did have a couple of current folks at XYPN Ops wonder, they're a multi-advisor firm, how much each subsequent advisor would cost. So if you want to address that, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. So in terms of Hubbly pricing, it's on our website. Once again, you can go to this QR code, which can also be accessed through your XYPN member portal. Hubbly is a per user based software pricing. So however many users you have at your firm is how your pricing would work out. Now, the benefit obviously working with XYPN Ops instead of working with hiring a virtual assistant or working with another virtual assistant agency is that XYPN Ops is getting all of their seats for free with the partnership. And so there's the additional cost saving there. And I think more importantly, when you decide to work with XYPN Ops, you also get access to all of the XYPN Ops workflows, which if you just work with Hubbly, you would not get access to those. And so once again, just really encouraged to go through XYPN Ops. If you're not sure about working with XYPN Ops, you can also just sign up for Hubbly using the generic XYPN code on our website.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll continue to have some office hours. We have office hours the second Monday of every month, and the last Monday of every month. And we'll have a set on this, and we might even grab one of Louis' fantastic teammates to help demo. But thank you so much, Louis. This has been amazing and so fun to work with. You're such an innovator, and it's really cool to see what you built. And it just feels ready made for our members.
Feelings mutual, Monique.
Well, this was really enlightening, and I didn't know that there was a tax prep workflow in Hubbly. My heart from my previous life as the director of ops at XYTS is singing, because that's exactly what the stages are. So bravo. And to everybody here, thank you so much for joining us. That concludes the webinar. We are nearly at time. So there is a feedback survey that you are going to be launched to after you close out of this webinar. We highly recommend that you fill it out just so that we know how you liked this content, and then just want to suggest any other topics of interest for you all. Otherwise, thank you, Monique. Thank you, Louis, for your time today. This was as I mentioned, really great information. So have a great rest of your day, to you too, especially, but to everybody else on this call. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Sarah. Thanks for setting it up. Appreciate it.
Everyone.
Bye.